So, Ara,
Andrew,
have you, I don't know, you ever been to court, served on a jury, anything like that?
I've served on a lot of juries.
Really?
3 to be exact.
Oh, my God.
I'm a big fan. The first one was a guy who was forced into rehab by the state, but then got stabbed. So he was suing the state of California. Yeah.
Stabbed?
Yeah.
By the state?
No, by a prisoner. And then the other case that I was actually the foreman on was the Mary Pickford estate versus the Academy of Motion Arts and Sciences. What are they called?
Motion Picture Arts and Sciences.
It was actually a really interesting case because her estate was basically, after she passed away, they were trying to sell some of her pre-1970s Academy Awards, which apparently you are not allowed to do now. They make you actually sign a contract saying that you cannot sell an Oscar unless you offer it to the Academy first for the sum of $1. They don't want their stuff being out there. They think it cheapens the award. So the estate actually lost. We ruled in the favor of the Academy.
Wow.
But it was good.
It's impressive.
I learned a lot. It was fun.
$1.
Yeah. What about you? You look like a type of guy who's been to court before.
I've been to court, been called in for jury duty a number of times, never actually been put, on a case. However, there was one time where we were in the courtroom. We were doing our tryouts, I guess, is what they call
Tryouts.
it.
Voir dire.
Yeah, we're in the bench.
Uh-huh.
It's not the bench. What is it? Where's the
jury box.
Jury box.
The
yeah.
penalty box.
Penalty box. Yeah. So I'm not gonna try to get out of it. I'll let myself get out of it naturally. I'm not gonna force it.
Sure.
But anyway, I found a surefire way to get out of jury duty is to simply stare at the miniature hand that the prosecutor has.
What?
I would just call it like a not fully formed left hand.
Okay.
And
so not fully formed as opposed to like a farm injury, like a tractor accident.
Correct.
I see.
Yes. So I was like, well, I don't see that every day. And I was looking at that and I was like, oh, okay.
A criminal or a civil case?
It was a civil case.
Okay.
Yeah. No, actually it was a criminal case. Sorry. I mean, these are the details that, I don't remember what the details were. I just remember a very small hand pointing at me and saying, you are dismissed. And I was like, come on. I feel so bad.
No, it's fine. He knew what he was getting into. But again, good on him for going into a profession that requires him to be scrutinized by the eyes and brains of people.
That's true. Well, I mean, I guess it's a better profession than, let's say, like a poker player, because some people could always say, well, you have a bad hand there. Hey, folks. Welcome to our 6th episode.
Number 6.
Yeah, RQ, the podcast, talking about our previous shows. And this week we are going to be talking about My Cousin Vinny. Great episode.
I actually really enjoyed this one.
It's a fantastic episode. Lots of good things came together on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So in this episode, I think in addition to, we haven't done this before, but in addition to talking about the episode itself, we are going to talk about the Outtakes video that also accompanied this, which
our biggest video.
It is our biggest to date. Over 5,000.
It gets views every day.
Which, by the way, 5,000 views. Also, be aware, folks.
Doesn't seem like a lot, but adjusted for inflation.
And think about this. Ara also accidentally deleted the original video.
I did.
Which had a couple thousand views on it. So if we were to split hairs here,
Sure.
This is a 2,000 view video. YouTube, maybe you could call us during this episode, tell us how the algorithms work.
We got a phone back there.
We do, nice rotary phone back there, very conveniently placed.
It still works. It doesn't work. No, it doesn't.
We use that phone in a later episode.
Only you pick it up and it automatically dials YouTube. So that's how that phone works.
You heard it here.
It's really hard to say that. You heard it here first, folks.
folks.
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one, but we do want to talk about that and just kind of where My Cousin Vinny lies on the.
I can never get that right either.
On the just to kind of start it off.
Sure.
Halloween episode was cool, but we got back to our roots a little bit from what we did from Princess Bride.
Well, I think it's worth mentioning too that the Halloween episode was the first time we shot in my office, which is a very small space. And then My Cousin Vinny was, again, we stayed in there, and I think we pretty much stayed in the office for a long time. That became our actual studio. As opposed to switching between my living room and the kitchen. The office became the Wagon studio at this point. And it was really great for what it did. It was a very small space. It was always difficult to find the right camera angles because of how small it was. But yeah, I mean, overall, rewatching it a few times, I really like this episode. Just wondering about, again, my outfit. I don't know what was happening. I was wearing
you had kind of like that white shirt.
This like Cuban white shirt, and then like a jacket, and then like a fedora, and I was like, "What am I doing?"
Yeah, I know that mine was relatively neutral in terms of just wearing like a gray shirt, pretty typical. Maybe a vest here and there, maybe a hoodie, but yeah, you were rocking some sort of white unbuttoned shirt. Maybe what was it? A blazer, jacket?
Yeah.
Hat? So what was that about?
I don't know. I feel like starting with the Princess Bride, when I was wearing like a rock T-shirt and a denim jacket, and then into this where I was again just I felt like I really was just kind of focusing on my outfits to kind of distract from my bad acting. I think that's kind of where it started, but this is really the point where my outfits start to get more and more ridiculous as time goes on. But
to cover for bad acting?
Yes. That's one way. By the time we get to Swingers, we're both wearing the same thing. We're wearing like a shirt and vest with a tie.
Yeah, I mean,
the outfits became as big a part of the character, I think, I guess is what I'm saying, as time went on. And this is really kind of the start of it. Well, Halloween too, but we've already talked about that. Start to see our structure coming through. We've got a really strong cold opening, which would become pretty much a staple of the opening of our show. And then we go into talking about the higher-ups, and they want to make a sequel to this movie. We do a very quick synopsis of the film, which is something we had done in previous episodes. And then we go into our pitch, and I actually really like the pitch. Like, we came up with I think a very solid, we said, like, yes, full of tropes, but it's like literally an idea that we could see Hollywood greenlighting as far as a sequel for this movie goes. And then just wrap it up quickly after that, and then tease our upcoming holiday special. So it was like we hit everything when we needed to. It came in under 9 minutes, and I don't know. It was good. It wasn't like laugh out loud funny, but there were some obviously comedic moments. But I think we were just really focused on like hitting these points and this outline that we had done that we've been kind of perfecting with the previous episodes. So I really enjoyed it. It was fun to watch again. It's one of those where I don't necessarily cringe watching it, and by cringe I mean like seeing my performances or some of the stuff, but. A lot of callbacks, a lot of recurring jokes and gags.
Obviously, with Princess Bride, we had talked about having to shoot it, twice because like first time didn't work out well. And I'm trying to remember, in the rehearsals, were we doing a pre-planning for My Cousin Vinny as well? Because it certainly seemed like in this episode there were certain gags or certain lines that we were just like going with. It's like hyenas.
What are we gonna call this most hyenas of sequel films?
What? Hyenas?
Hyenas? Is it
Uranus?
I'm in this.
What are you talking about?
I'll direct it. We use a lot of puns, at least 4 puns in this. Hyannis and hyenas, Uranus, I'm in this. A couple others.
But I was just wondering, like, did we pre-plan that? I don't remember.
I have no idea
if we plan that out, because as we had also talked about in subsequent or prior, is it subsequent? I don't know which one. Subsequent is before.
Subsequent's after.
Yeah. So in prior podcasts, we had talked about how I am not very good at improvising, and so I cannot imagine that we went through with Hyannis, and I was like, "You're in this. You're in this. I'm in this.
I'll direct it.
I'll direct it." Like that. That just seemed almost too perfect for my mental capabilities to be able to.
You are very
like
quick with the puns, though. So part of me says like it was probably in the moment. But I could be wrong. There's many a time when I've said something and you've come up with a pun many a time when I've said something and there's many a time when I've said something and you've come up with a pun right away. So
that's cool. Not this time.
You heard it here first, folks. Andrew's the pun master.
Okay.
He's got that magic card.
God.
Are there any characters that are just good at puns in Magic? Like Punky Brewster? Punsty Brewster? That's neither here nor there. That's a palate cleanser.
In the Outtakes video, that had a lot of stuff that was cracking us up, you know, and like, this is where they live, this is where they breed.
Yeah, yeah.
They're in New York. Mm-hmm. That's where they live, that's where they breed.
Yes.
That was a genuine, like, why would I say that, you know?
Well, let's talk about the Outtakes video because
Please do.
As we said, that became our most popular video. It continues to get views every day, and a lot of people that stumble on it are not necessarily happy with what they find. We get a lot of angry comments and thumbs down when they still had a thumbs down option. Mm-hmm. But we didn't even we weren't even trying to make it clickbait. It just so happens that there aren't that many, or if any, there aren't really that many My Cousin Vinny Outtakes movies. So when people search for that, our video happens to pop up, and then they get very angry with what they see.
Well, the other thing too is like it in a sense it helped us to understand how to identify and label our products, because I think at the very beginning we did not put RQ. We just said My Cousin Vinny Outtakes. We just put My Cousin Vinny as like the actual episode.
Sure.
The problem with that is, and rightfully so, is like someone clicks on it, is like, this is not, what is this? This is not it. So we would put, you know, re-Quel or outtakes from re-Quel, and you would assume that people would read the title.
If you took the time to read at least the description, which most people don't, it was very clearly stated like, these are outtakes from our re-Quel show, My Cousin Vinny episode. Like,
right.
But again, who's going to read that?
Or you read the title,
sure,
and you see that, okay. Or you look at the thumbnail and you're like, I don't think that's from that
They're not in that movie. I don't know who these guys are.
Who are these guys? Who are these people?
It's a very popular video. Check it out if you haven't already.
It is an incredibly popular video, and we do nothing to promote it.
No, but the outtakes, you know, it's funny too. Our outtakes are always funny.
Yeah.
Oftentimes funnier than the actual episode, but
and that's something that I had to learn is like when making the episode. I still think that the actual episode is you know, it's got a direction. It's got, you know, a beginning, a middle, and an end. And an end.
It's very well structured. And like I said, it's not laugh out loud funny, but there are some humorous moments.
I think with the phone calls, because we kept going with that. Obviously in the Halloween episode we called Redkin up, and that's a real conversation, right? But with this one, it was like, well, why don't we just? I know Joe Pesci related stuff, some movies, right? From My Cousin Vinny, from Casino, for sure. And then in watching that, this was still at that time where I didn't have the clips pre-made. I didn't know what I would do other than maybe I think the one about the TV.
You do ask a lot of questions though, because it almost seems like in your head you already kind of knew what you were going to use, at least for a few of them. That's the vibe that I got, because you were asking, you were interacting with him, and you were setting him up basically, is what it felt like. So.
Okay.
Oh!
Hey, Mr. Pesci.
Oh!
Hi, Joe.
Oh!
Yeah, it's Andrew and Aura.
Hi there.
How you doing?
We want to do a sequel to My Cousin Vinny.
I swear to God, I do not need this right now, okay?
It's kind of like a TV thing that we're doing here.
What the f*** are you doing on TV anyhow?
It is.
You know I get calls from back home every f***ing day. They think you went bad shit.
Are you on board, Joe?
You're getting me for nothing, you little f***.
Okay.
Great.
All right, Joe. It's great talking to you.
You motherfucker, you.
All right.
But he hung up.
You did.
Which is good. Good on you, because I was not thinking that far ahead.
Well, the one about the TV, I knew
Totally,
it's like
yeah.
I get calls from back home that you're on TV. They think you went bat, and it's like I know that clip is probably available. I'll find a way to get that clip.
Right.
But then there were other things where you can kind of tell like it doesn't line up perfectly, and maybe it's funnier that way. Because
get me for nothing, you little bastard. Whatever he says.
You little.
Oh, well, there you go. I guess we are cursing again.
But I love bleeping. I think the phone call was good. I was happy to do that phone call, and I think that there was a real kind of story, and it added to the video. It wasn't just like, oh, we're just putting this in here.
Yeah, no, it was definitely the best one we had at that point, as far as phone calls, and it made sense. We're the higher ups told us that they had gotten Joe Pesci, so we had to call him. We call him. Of course, he's angry and upset and doesn't know what we're talking about. So it just kind of set itself up. It was definitely one of the better ones at that point, for sure. It was the best one at that point. And you did a really good job with that. And it's just like, it's Pesci. There's so much stuff you could just rip from him and turn it to comedy, as opposed to like Rob Reiner's was much more difficult to kind of mine that comedy gold, so to speak.
He is, although there was one very subtle callback to the Rob Reiner, because when you call him, he's like, hello, hello, and Joe's like, oh!
Oh!
It's a good movie.
It is a good movie.
Just thinking about that.
And as we mentioned in the episode, an Academy Award-winning movie.
That is correct. Yeah.
Marissa Tomei.
Marissa.
Jack Palance.
I don't think he was in that one.
No, he wasn't in that one.
But he was the presenter, wasn't he?
Exactly. That was the joke in the episode. Not the joke, but I was like, didn't he get it wrong? Isn't there like a internet lore? He read the wrong name, but it's a great film. It's one of those that we both really liked and still really like. Still very quotable. I've watched it recently, a couple of months ago. It was great. It holds up. It's got a great cast. Everyone in it is awesome. Everybody.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of fun to make this episode, but it's very straight and to the point. And I think that's what I liked about it. Like, I think we were like finally finding our groove. We talked about Princess Bride being a turning point, but like this one, you watch it, it's just like, it's 9 minutes. If that, it's not even 9 minutes. It's like 8 something, or 7:56, whatever. But it like we get
very specific. I don't know.
I was taking notes. I don't know exactly what it is. It was 7:56 or something like that.
All right. So hey, thank you so much for joining us in the My Cousin Vinny re-Quel, or excuse me, RQ podcast. Next time we are going to look at what's the holiday episode?
It's the holiday, the Christmas episode.
Christmas episode.
Big stuff.
Lots of big stuff.
Big stuff coming.
More flicky fingers things going on in that one. So
I enjoyed this one. It was a really good episode. I was glad to see it again. I hadn't watched it in a long time. So
yeah, a lot of good stuff that.
And check out those outtakes if you haven't already.
Yeah, add to that ever-growing number of people who have watched it and hated it.
Yeah.
And let us know what you think about it, too. But anyway, everybody, thank you so much. We will see you again when we see you, and take care. Bye.
Bye.